quite honestly, it's one of my favorite subjects. I've been studying the esoteric philosophy for many, many years. And of the many subjects that are connected to this philosophy, there is perhaps none more meaningful, at least to me, than the subject of soulful creativity, which is sometimes called the art of spiritual magic or soulful magic, or even the term white magic is sometimes used. But it's this understanding that every human being is destined to be a spiritually creative magician, so to speak. It's every soul, every human soul, innate within it is a yearning to serve, a yearning to bring its profound wisdom and its amazing love into the outer world in support of the upliftment of something beyond oneself. And in this philosophy, we have been given an ancient set of formulas, you might say, or steps, you might say, for the process of soulfully externalizing the wisdom that you are able to have and share. It's a whole system that's really built into the very fabric of evolution itself, that we all become magicians eventually. And so it begins by this understanding that the soul speaks in intuitive whispers, and it needs to utilize all three parts of the personality to give form to those intuitive whispers. It needs remember, your personality has three parts to it. It has a mental body, an emotional body, and a physical body, and each of those parts is essential for the soul to successfully bring its wisdom into the outer world. This is why we sometimes call the personality the threefold personality. And when the soul is trying to impulse a creative intuition to bring forth into the outer world, it's trying to do that by first engaging with the mind of the personality to see if it can begin to encourage the shaping of a thought around the intuitive wisdom that it's trying to bring forward. So it needs the mental body of the personality to begin to build the idea itself. It then needs the emotional body of the personality to add that feeling component to this new and progressive idea. That feeling component is important because it kind of adds a level of emotional conviction and makes it more attractive. Of course, the question is always how much emotion, because if you have a good idea, but let's say that you're too emotionally connected to it, that can actually distort the perception of the idea, or it distorts it, and sometimes it makes it a mountain out of a molehill, so to speak. If you don't have enough emotion, well, then it doesn't have enough of the oomph power, the motivating energy to carry it forward into outer expression. So there's a whole kind of science of the measure of emotion that's so important in the creative process. And then we need to have that idea go into the physical and really start to be utilizing the etheric physical. And when we use the word etheric physical in this philosophy, the etheric represents your chakra system. And of course, magic has to be related to both your physical and your chakra system in the truest sense. Indeed, the soul itself will utilize certain chakras for certain purposes and sequences of utilization and activation in order to facilitate a more effective expression in service to the outer world. But tied into it all is another subject, which is incredibly related to it, and this is the subject of the lighted lamp. You see, in the esoteric philosophy, it's long understood that in the long evolutionary journey of a human being who eventually steps onto the path, there's a period which is called the awakening, where for the first time, a light within the center of the head begins to flicker. Now, when I say head, I don't mean the dense physical kind of gray matter part of the head. I mean the etheric head. Your chakra system is made up of etheric substance, but that same kind of substance is also located within the head itself. And this light begins to flicker at a certain point in one's evolution. And then over time, that light begins to stabilize. And when it finally reaches that more stable quality, it is said that it catches the master's eye. And that what happens is that you are then referred to by the masters as a lighted lamp. And that is important because you are an agent of the greater life, and you are now being sensed as a useful tool in support of the inner ashram and the work it seeks to do in the outer world, you see. And this lighted lamp gets brighter as you develop yourself. And the brighter that light, the greater your capacity to magically and creatively bring forth your thought forms as a function of service in the outer world, to be that effective magician